Well, here I am on the 7th of April in Jinja, Uganda. Actually, I'm in a suburb of Jinja called Mbiko, and I'm sitting here at the top of the water tank tower on the property for the Hope Home for Peace for Paul. And where to begin? I got to Uganda about a little under 1 week ago, last Wednesday night. It's now Monday night, and it's been crazy. Obviously having a little trouble knowing where to begin. Okay, so today's also the first day that I was actually treating some patients with Dr. Mufumba in his clinic on the other side of Jinja. But I'll get to that in a minute. So, got here late at night, last Wednesday night, to Entebbe Airport, which is the main international airport, after about 35 hours travel time from Portland. And this place is beautiful, but it's also the third world. It's very obvious the differences between the first and the third world as soon as you get here. You see a lot of stores that are just shanties, a lot of homes that are just shanties. Not all of them have four walls, not all of them have roofs. Tons and tons of unfinished buildings everywhere, and people everywhere. Now, Entebbe is by the capital of Uganda, Kampala, where I got to spend my first 4 or 5 days before getting here to Jinja, and it was very difficult figuring out how to even get to a phone or get to the internet, just to contact my friends and family and Casey to let them know I was here. So Kampala, if I had to compare it to something, I would have to say is kind of like Mexico City or something. It's very pretty and green, but also just crowded. People drive around. There's normal cars and trucks, but there's also the motorbikes that are called bodas, and they're just weaving in and out of traffic. It's so dangerous. Nobody wears a helmet. Even when you hire them, they're also like taxis, and you ride on the back of them. And it's the type of thing where you get on them, and if we were in the States, you'd expect someone to say, keep your hands and feet inside the vehicle at all times, but nobody says that. Nobody offers a helmet. Nobody gives any instruction whatsoever. And then when you get to your destination, they hike up the price about 3 times what the value of the ride is really worth, because I'm a Mzungu, which is a white guy. Here in Jinja, it's fun riding around because as you pass people sitting in their yards or whatever, you hear them calling out, "Mzungu, Mzungu!" And the little kids are just adorable and very endearing. They look at you like this at first, and then when you show them a smile, they start smiling widely and just start laughing. I guess it's quite a novelty to have white people here, but particularly right now it's a very low tourist season. So anyways, it's been a hell of a culture shock. The first 2 days I spent in a backpackers hostel in Kampala, and it was sort of on the outskirts of town, where it was, at least a taxi ride. You couldn't really walk to downtown. You had to take a boda, or one of the buses is called a matatu, which are just packed full of people. Today I saw one that the roof of it, where normally you see luggage and all sorts of goods for sale that people are carrying from one place to another. Today there was one just loaded to the gills with live chickens and turkeys, which I thought was unusual, but nobody here seemed to find it so. The first couple of days in Kampala were tough. I went downtown by myself and was in the heart of the most crowded part of the city, and I was easily the only white person there among tens of thousands of people. There's all kinds of storefronts that will say internet cafe or some sort of recognizable food item, and then they're on the second floor of a building to which you can find no stairs, so you have no idea how you even get there. That's part of the reason why it took me so long to just email out that I was here. At any rate, figured it out, got a new cell phone here, mobile, which I had to do because the cell phones from the States don't work here. So after a couple nights of getting to meet the locals, which are very friendly once you talk to them and greet them, everybody requires a greeting. You can't just say, hey, where's this? Hey, where's the bathroom? Hey, where's whatever? You always greet them and ask how they're doing, and then they'll often say, where are you from? You're from the U.S. Oh, how is the U.S.? To which I looked just like this the first few times they asked me that. I said, it's good. Uganda's good too. But I don't know what answer they were really looking for, so that was kind of interesting. Ooh, big lightning coming. There was just a huge thunderstorm here, sort of in the rainforest here. It's probably a bad idea for me to be on top of this water tower now. You, I'm sure, can hear that thunder. But at any rate, I wanted to show everybody the town from here. So let me do that now. You can't really see downtown from here, but Jinja is the source of the Nile River, or the site of the source of the Nile River. This is part of the Hope Home. There's Emma and one of the neighbor girls. Here's the house that I'm staying in. Here's some kind of tree that little girl you just saw. I passed by yesterday. She was cutting leaves off, and I asked her what she was doing. She said it's good for treating malaria and cough. Which was impressive to hear this little girl knowing about local botanical medicines. But at any rate, there's a couple different types of fruit trees here in the yard. I haven't eaten any yet, but so yeah, it's hard to get used to. Today, well, let me back up. In Kampala, I, like I said, had a good time, but it was kind of scary, kind of hard to get around. The hostel room I was in was like 10 by 10 feet, concrete, mosquito net on the bed, barely enough room for the bed and my luggage, but, you know, made do for a couple of days there. Actually had hot water in the showers and flushing toilets, which is also kind of a novelty here. Eventually I got in touch with my friend Todd Von Segern and his wife Ryan, who we all grew up in Greensboro and went to Page and also went to Appalachian. The beautiful sounds you're hearing are these ibises that fly around. There's a lot of crazy birds here. The huge marabou storks are everywhere. Disgusting scavenger birds, like buzzards, but the size of, like, I don't know, a big midget. Anyways, haven't seen too many tropical looking birds yet, except for the ones you just heard, but a couple parrots, things like that. At any rate, once I got in touch with Todd and Ryan, we went to some cool Ethiopian place, and that was pretty good. We got to catch up, and then the next day I checked out of the hostel and went over to their house in a suburb in between Kampala and Entebbe called Luboa, and it's like where the UN delegates and the people like Todd and Ryan, who are teachers at the International School of Kampala, will live. And they actually have sort of like full-time guards in their gated communities and they have essentially maids. It's kind of interesting, but also very nice relief from the sort of impoverished, even hostels that were available for me to stay at in Kampala. So it's very much appreciated. Plus, they're on a hillside that overlooks Lake Victoria, which is Africa's largest lake. Also, the lake from which the Nile River, the source of the Nile River, comes out here in Jinja. So from there, I spent a couple of days with them. It was great. I spent 2 nights with them. The second night, I was only going to stay for 1, but ended up staying an extra night because Todd had recently caught a 25 kg fish, which is like almost 50 pounds, Nile perch out of the Nile River the weekend before. So we roasted it up. They roasted it up with ginger and coconut milk and garlic and cilantro and all these great things, and then wrapped it in foil, cooked it on top of a grill grate on top of a wheelbarrow filled with charcoal, and we had about 40 or so people over to join us in eating that, and it was amazing. Actually made really big fish tacos out of it and actually finished the whole thing. Anyways, also there I got to talk to a lot of other international residents here, mostly from the UK and other parts of Africa and other parts of Western Europe, a couple Americans, and so I got a cool perspective from the Mzungu point of view on life in Uganda. So now, yesterday, I took a private taxi actually instead of a matatu, which is the normal way to get here, but I took a private taxi from Luboa to Jinja. Emma, one of the amazing caretakers here at Peace for Paul, who is an educated social worker, about to finish his degree with that, and will do great things for the foundation, I'm sure, met me down by a gas station where they were dropping me off from the ride from Kampala, and brought me over here to the Hope Home, which is the boys' home when the kids are not in school, which is going to be in a couple weeks. They'll have their break. So right now I'm staying in this orphanage, which has no children in it, but it's still really cool to see where they live, because Casey and I have been sponsoring one of the girls, which their home is in a different location. I haven't seen it yet, but we've been sponsoring Rose for a couple years now, and in a couple days I'll actually go out to their boarding school and visit them and meet Rose. So that'll be cool. Today I was able to get over to Dr. Mufumba's clinic in a different part of town and actually help start treating some patients of his, many of which suffer from malaria and typhoid and sickle cell and all kinds of things like that you see in this part of the world, none of which I have any business really treating, but it's still very interesting to see how it's treated, most of which it's really just medicine. So haven't seen a lot of alternative methods of practicing medicine here, but there were a couple opportunities for me to help do some soft tissue work and some massage for some people. A lady came in with a broken, well, she's recovering from a broken right leg, which fractured both her tibia and her fibula, and I saw x-rays of it, which I'm glad to know that they have x-ray machines here. But first of all, they're poor quality x-rays, which those of you that are in school with me can appreciate, but secondly, they didn't set the bone in any way, they just plastered it up, and subsequently it's healing really badly. Bones are terribly misaligned, and I'm sure she's going to be, an inch or so shorter on that leg once the callus finishes healing. At any rate, the biofreeze that I brought out here is working wonders. People love it, so that's something that we'll be working on, consistently sending out to Dr. Mufumba. I think he really likes it as well. But yeah, I mean, even his clinic is sort of in a little slum. I mean, there's lots of unfinished just brick buildings around them. I've taken some cool pictures of the kids and the neighbors and the damn cows and goats that are herded through the neighborhood. It's wild. It's about to start raining again, so I really need to probably head back inside. But at any rate, things are good. I'm getting used to the area. I'm getting used to the little expressions that Mzungus often learn to get by, and getting used to the price gouging that we're also subjected to. But you can also negotiate with people and work the price down, and if you have someone like Emma with you, which I'm very grateful to have, he can actually, negotiate better with the people selling the produce and stuff. Like today we went downtown Jinja and bought a bunch of bananas and pineapples and some things in a normal store, but the fruits were all just laid out on the street. People just sitting there selling all kinds of fresh produce, which is great. But yeah, it's definitely, it's a hard culture shock to deal with, but a great thing to do, I think. Way outside my comfort zone. There's been definitely some scary moments, a lot of moments